pastures with 2 to go. Riding the fence, not the wisest idea in the windy conditions, but that's a meal. 2 to go.
Here at day 4 of Intelligentsia Cup. Today is the South Chicago road race. It's actually pretty windy today. Unlike last year. Last year was not windy at all, but today it's windy, but it's more of a headwind, tailwind type of thing. But if the wind shifts at all, there's gonna be massive splits in the field. So important to stay up front, unlike I have been the last 3 days. The last 3 days were rough. So I'm hoping my luck changes today, because otherwise that's gonna suck. This course suits me perfectly. It's just like hold your speed through the whole thing. So if I get dropped, that's just sad. It's sad. A couple more things I want to update on. So my mount broke yesterday, along with my shifter. My shifter came loose. But because of that, I am switching up the angles a little bit. So I'm putting a GoPro mount on top of my helmet. So let me know if you like that better or worse, because, you know, that's just what we're gonna work with today. But hopefully it turns out pretty cool. I think it will. Intelligentsia Cup. Finally started to feel like I had some legs today. So going into lap 2 in the tailwind section, decided to give it a little bit of a dig and see if I could get this started early. You can see my heart rate's 173, but I never felt like this effort was that hard. Pushing a giant gear here, so was flying down this front stretch and ended up getting pulled back, but it wasn't that big a deal. Ended up getting on the back stretch into this brutal headwind, and this is where the first break of the day finally got established. And you could see just like one guy goes and then another guy bridges up, and that's kind of how both the breaks of the day formed. This one didn't really, amount to anything. It got pulled back within a lap or two, but the second one of the day is actually the one that stuck. Unfortunately, I didn't get any footage of that because, it's a road race, so I can't really record the whole thing with only an hour long of battery life with my GoPro. But that being said, the second break had about 8 guys in it, and it was crazy how it formed. Like, it was just one guy went, and then like a minute later another guy went, and it just kind of started happening like that. And eventually, like, all of the right teams were in there where nobody wanted to work, and that's just kind of how the break formed for the day. So this one, obviously, we're just sitting up at this point. You can see our watts are like, over 300, and the wind is so strong here that we're just going nowhere. And another thing I want to mention is that this turnaround point, super crucial to stay towards the front in this part of the course. You could see my watts go way up, and the previous time it was only around like 800 or so. So about 200 to 300 watts more just by being in the back of the field on that turnaround, because you have to slow down that just a little bit much more, and because of that you have to sprint up to speed a little bit faster, and that could be the difference between winning, losing, making the break and not making the break. And luckily I was able to stay up to the front in most of that turnaround point. Most times we went, I think we did 14 laps. We got cut a lap short because we got lapped by the pro race before us. But here we are going into 1 lap to go. I'm in the back at this part again, but at this point I know the race is over. The breakaway is won, and I'm just like, can we salvage a top 10 here? There was about 7 or 8 guys in the break, and I'm like, I just got to try something. I'm not feeling like totally trashed after this race, so it's either try something or just sit in, because I'm not going to outsprint these guys in this tailwind section. So what I decided to do is they all sit up in this, pretty strong tailwind. I mean like 30 plus miles per hour. So I decided to just go for it. What the hell? It's either try and, get a top 10 or sit in there and get nothing regardless. So decide to go and just go as hard as I can on this section, get as big as a gap as I can, because I know that going the other way is going to hurt real bad with the headwind. And you're going to see in a second how much power we're putting out and going nowhere. So fortunately, one guy decided to come with me, and I was like, hey, this might actually work. Looking back at this point in the race, we actually had a good 10 seconds at this point, which was like a pretty big gap to get. No one wanted to, work to, pull this back. So at this point, we're going the other way. We have about half a lap left, and you can see, close to 400 watts, and we're going 21 miles an hour. Like, it was brutal. 450 watts here, going 21 miles per hour. So that's kind of how it ended for us. Everyone just, they're able to work together a little bit more, and because of that, they can keep their speed a little bit higher. So it was really, really hard for, a group of 2 guys to get away, especially this late in the race. So unfortunately, we got pulled back at this point, and ended up sitting up and just following the group in, which you're going to see in a second. And the sprint was really fast, obviously, as you were probably aware from the tailwind. I was in I ride a 52 front chainring, and I was in my 11th tooth in the back, so 52-11, and I'm spinning out my gear. So at this point, you can see we're almost at that turnaround point, and this is when we just got caught. So if we made it maybe another 15-20 seconds, we would have been in that tailwind and been in sweet victory, but unfortunately we just couldn't make it, didn't have enough power, and here we are going into the final sprint. And like I was saying, 52-11 right now, spinning out my legs, 110 cadence right now in my biggest gear. And at this point, it's save it for tomorrow, basically.
Get it?
Second, dude.
Oh,
You got me by this much.
Jesus.
We walked
I basically watched you guys right off my wheel. I totally could have gone with.
Man, I saw you sitting right there, Chuck. How'd you do today?
I tried to go for a last lap flyer, attack him, because I can't sprint for shit.
Down
And then we just blew up on, he was with me. Yeah. We just blew up in that headwind. couldn't hold back.
His teammates have earned
Like
further
sitting in the
him
back
as
on that headwind's
he
like, okay.
wanted
I'm doing like 450, 500 watts,
gets
and
down
going
in
like
that
21 miles an hour.
position.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that thing parked at 425.
Yeah.
And we were like going fucking like 19, 20 miles an hour.
Well, I think I'm a little more confident now that I actually finished a race. Jesus. I basically watched the winning move go to. Totally should have gone with, but I thought, you know, one move before that got pulled back, and then this one went, and then I'm like, all right, as soon as they get pulled back, that's when I'm gonna go. Bad move, they stayed away. And there was like 10 guys in it too, somehow. I didn't know that many were in it. But then you saw in the video, I can't sprint to save my life, and I know that now. So attacked in the tailwind section with 1 lap to go, and had one guy with me. And then in the section with the headwind, dude, I was doing like 450 watts and going like 19, 20 miles per hour. So it was like, you just can't stay away like that, especially when they're coming flying. So I was pretty fried for the sprint, so I don't know, I finished towards the back. Is what it is. I know I can finish with these guys, so I'm gonna get them tomorrow. Now tomorrow's when I start to do better. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe. See you tomorrow.